What's up, everybody? Thanks again for stopping by for another edition of March 4th with Mike Bauman. I, of course, am your host, Mike Bauman. Whoever you are listening from, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. If you're a returning listener, I greatly appreciate your continued love and support. And if you're a brand new listener of the show, man, thank you so much for hopping aboard that pirate ship. You can follow me on Instagram at March 4th Pod. I am on YouTube at March 4th Pod. I'm over there on the TikTok at March 4th Podcast. Hey, you know what, guys? If you made it here, then that means you found me somehow. And I truly appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to check out another edition of the March 4th with Mike Bauman podcast. How is everybody doing, man? I'm a total goofball, folks. It feels good to be back. I took a couple of weeks just to kind of regroup. I do 3 of these bad boys a month. If you are new to the show, I release them on Tuesdays. And April is a long month, like January, man. There was actually 5 Tuesdays when it's all said and done this year in April. So usually I like to space out the episodes, balance them with my day job. And like I said, I release them on Tuesdays, usually like a week apart. And then I'll do like 2 back to back towards the end of the month. And this month I took a little break ski in the middle of the month just to regroup. I was getting a little burnout and not from the podcast or anything like that, but just some life stuff. There's some good and bad, like anything in life, right? There's the yin and the yang, the balance of the dark and the light. And the good is that there's been updates to my place. I've been living here a long time, and this is the first time I've had interior updates. One of which is a washer and a dryer combo, which is awesome because your boy has been living in Tennessee for 10 years and I've never had a washer and dryer in my place. I've always had to go to a laundromat and it's like an event and I would wait a few weeks in between washing loads because I'm like, it's going to be $5, so I might as well make it worth it and then 5 to dry. So anywho, they've done some work on my place and it's awesome. I've got some updates. I've got updated appliances. My kitchen is up to date. I got a new shower. It's amazing. But that means I had to move a lot of stuff around. So I actually recorded an episode recently on my phone, which I usually don't like to do because I do have my mic and my semi-profesh set up with my little mixing board and everything. And that guest, she was really cool about it. It was a great conversation. Stay tuned. But yeah, so my place was just a little bit discombobulated. And in addition to that, sadly, I did lose 2 good friends and 2 of my mentors in broadcasting, and Mike Jameson and Mick Gonzalez, about a month apart to various health issues and cancer battles. May they rest in peace. I literally wouldn't be doing this podcast if not for those guys, man. So that happened between like the end of February and the end of March. It was just kind of a whirlwind, so that was the bad. So again, in life, there's death is part of life. Losing people is part of life. Nothing is permanent. Nobody is permanent. But at the same time, there's never a good time to die, And so between that and shuffling stuff around, I've realized what a pack rat I am. I hang on to a lot of stuff. And my pantry where my washer and dryer is now, that was kind of doubling as a storage unit for me since I lived here. And there's a lot of stuff in there that ain't been moved in a while. So I've got some spring cleaning to do. I've got some trips to make and some stuff to give away. So there's bins. And so, anywho, I took a couple of weeks, and gave an extra week in between the first episode. So if you haven't checked that out of April, that was on April 1st with Adam Port, an awesome artist. Shout out to Adam. Great guy. And instead of putting one out a couple weeks later, I just gave myself an extra week to kind of regroup. And in between, I've been recording new episodes. So, like I'm sure a lot of podcasters, you kind of stack them up and get your interviews, and then, you're not scrambling for content. So, I just needed a little break ski. I just needed a little kind of mental check in with some stuff going on. And like I said, there's a balance of good and bad, but I'm not going anywhere. Okay, we got 2 more shows to close out April. Like I said, I do 3 a month on Tuesdays. If you're new to the pod. And we've got some fun ones. And speaking of fun episodes, I'm going to wrap up my rant here in the intro by saying I got a lot of respect for this cat. He's a hustler. He's a good dude. He's a very talented musician, and he first came into my world about 2 years ago with his single Halo. He is none other than Sean Fitz. You can find him on the interwebs at Fake Fitz on Instagram. Sean Fitz is his musical name. This guy is based in Phoenix, Arizona. He's a guitarist, he's a singer. He also plays bass on tour with an awesome band known as Otherwise, and they've got a tour coming up in June. But we linked back up for this episode because his latest single, Fake Relationships, just came out back on March 7th. It's a great heartbreak anthem, a great emo song, and Sean is cool because he's as he's grown as a musician, he's mixed different genres in. You know, there's elements of hip hop, there's emo, there's alternative rock, there's pop, there's some R&B flavor in some of his guitar, and that's what I like about how he's staggered his singles. He's been putting out music the last several years, and like I said, recently, I think it was 2023, linked up with Otherwise to join them on tour playing bass as a touring musician. So this is a good dude who, like I said, he hustles. He's got Midwest roots, and he's really been exploring these last couple of years, making his own music, and it's been really cool to see his evolution, the experimentation, and not to be dismissive of his previous singles, but "Fake Relationships" is one that I really dig and I really enjoy. And I know the people have been digging it as well. And it was cool for him to reach back out and get back in touch. I love a good sad song. I love a good heartbreak anthem. Even though your boy's a metalhead at heart, I have a lot of respect for the emo and the pop punk realms. And Sean does it very well, man. And it was cool to learn the backstory of Fake Relationships because it was actually not what I was expecting. So always good when people want to come back. So without further ado, I'm going to shut my big yapper and give you guys my conversation with Sean Fitz. Here it is. Well, Sean, like we were talking about before the jump, dude, it's good to see you. It's good to catch up.
Yeah.
I know it's been busy since the last time we talked as far as just the couple of singles that you put out to end the year, and I was happy that you hit me up as you're getting ready to ramp it up again, man. So thanks again for stopping by, brother.
Absolutely a pleasure being on as always, man. Thank you for always having me whenever I hit you up. Um, it's always good for to have places that smaller artists can go and like talk about their work and what they're working on.
Hell yeah, man. And likewise, it's good, it's good to meet good people out here, man, and you're good people. Like we were talking about before the jump. I mean, I think the first time I got you on here was it 2 years ago? I think it
Yeah,
might
it's
have
about
been
2 years ago now for sure.
when Halo came out.
Yeah, so it's like probably like September 2023, something like
Damn,
that.
it's wild, man. Time flies. Time flies. But yeah, dude, did you go on Shiprocked again this year?
Oh, I did. I think that's what we were talking about last year. It was like I got on here like right after I got off Shiprock. And I mean, I've been back from Shiprock now for like the month, but yeah, super fresh. Shiprock was sick again this year. Lots of cool bands, it's always fun going on and I get to see like people from all over the country that I don't ever get to like run into unless I'm touring, but it's kind of unique because everybody's on the same boat in the same spot. So
Was there anybody that you saw this year that like wasn't on your radar that you checked out their set and you were like, "Oh, those guys are sick."
The band that I've been talking about the most, absolutely, is my boy Ricky's band Hawk. They're out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and yeah, they're a sick band. Definitely heavy genre. But don't sleep on Hawk. They're gonna be a pretty sick band to see, like their new music and all that.
Is it Ricky? Is it Armelino? Is that how you say
Ricky
his last name?
Armelino. Hmm. And I got to meet all those boys that are playing in the band now, and yeah, they had a sick set. My boys in Atreyu, they played on the boat. It was sick to see them. Love always to see them live. And then Parkway Drive is another one of my favorite bands. Like, good to see them.
Parkway is so freaking awesome. I got a chance a couple years ago. Now I think it was 2 years ago in Nashville, and it was Parkway, Memphis, Mayfire, and Currents. It was amazing. It was at Marathon, and I missed. I think it was like pre-apocalypse, pre-COVID, and I
Yeah.
was kicking myself because I think it was Kill Switch and Parkway. I think it was a co-headlining tour, and I missed that bill. It sold out, and I didn't get a chance to go. And so Memphis, shout out to Kellen and Tiff. Um, Kellen's sick and a really really awesome guitarist and producer, and their new album's gonna be awesome. I'd love to get him back on the show, but yeah, when they played on that tour, I went to that show, and they were awesome. Currents was awesome. Parkway was sick. I mean, it was an awesome bill, but yeah, I freaking love Parkway Drive, man. And their story too is so cool. Just coming out of Australia and like becoming one of the biggest metalcore, and then since then they've expanded their sound. Really, I feel like that Ire record, was kind of like taken like a different step for them. You know what I mean? Like where
Yeah,
they're
totally.
still Parkway, but that one kind of was like a different direction than the previous few records, which I loved. Like Deep Blue and Atlas, like those are some of my favorite Parkway records. But yeah, Ire had some bangers, and since that time, man, just to see them continue to like become more and more like
Yeah, and they're just such a good like band to see live too. Like they're just so tight and it's always just like super solid. So bands you see live and they just like they stand above, you know?
yeah, Shiprocked is on the bucket list too, man. I feel like every year it comes and goes, and I'm like, damn it, I wish I would have gone.
Yeah,
Um, but it looks like a vibe. It looks like a lot of fun.
a lot
And
of
I
fun.
know I'm sure it was better than than the year before just because you didn't get like stuck
Hey,
or
that was
whatever.
fun. That was fun. Made it fun, you know?
So as far as things are going in Arizona, man, we scratched the surface a little bit but before I hit record. But you sent me the latest single, and it's a definite heartbreak anthem. I think people are really gonna dig it. Um, the tempo of it, the lyrics are awesome. Because the last time we talked, you and Ryan were on here. Shout out to Ryan. Got to get back in touch with him too, and see how he's doing. But it was when Ammo came out when you guys did that single. And since the last time we talked about a year ago, you put out Red Eye, which I felt like kind of had like an R&B almost vibe, like the guitar in
Yeah.
that, like it was reminiscent of to me of some of that. And then Clover was like it was almost like a pop kind of
Mhm.
anthem type of vibe. And this recent one that you sent me, can we give people the name on this one?
Yeah, no, totally. Like I got a new song coming out called Fake Relationships. It drops March 7th, 2025. I don't know when this is dropping, but it's probably around there or something or after. Um, but yeah, and it's definitely more of a emo alt rock song.
Yeah, it's cool because and you have mixed up the vibes on all the singles that you've done.
Hmm.
You've had fun experimenting, man, and it's been cool to see the different vibes that you put in the songs. But I really enjoyed it, man. It's truly of the releases that you've put out so far. I mean, it's definitely one of my favorites. It's definitely in my wheelhouse. Um, just from personal life experiences and also just being a fan of like good sad songs and like good heartbreak
Yeah,
songs. But and again, we don't have to get too much into like personal details, right? But given that the theme of the show is perseverance and moving forward, what can you tell me and the people about like kind of the vibe of the lyrics of the song and just kind of like getting to this point of putting this release out? Again,
totally.
whatever you're willing to share.
Yeah.
Again,
So, I mean, this song, I've had this song written for like over a year. And I wrote it about relationships you have with people where like this is like my personal experience. Like you go to a restaurant or you go to like a bar or something like that and you have a bartender, or you have like a server or something like that and you have this like like over like we have this friendly relationship all of a sudden. And it's not like, oh, we're not going to hit them up after they're done with work and be like, oh, we're going to go watch the game tonight and grab a few drinks or something like that. But you have this like fake friendly relationship with somebody, like just basically out of nowhere. And it's kind of just like the business behind it. But I just thought that was kind of an interesting way of looking at it, and I wanted to make a song called Fake Relationships. And then as it goes on, like, I mean, I think I've talked a little bit about my writing process on here in the past, but um, I'll just sit down and I'll be working on like random ideas that come to mind, and I'll sit there and write like 80% of a song. And like certain things will change and like we'll adapt, like uh, change lines in songs. Like if you look at a whole thing and like certain words aren't working in certain sentences, like you'll shift stuff around. So that's kind of like the start, and the idea of the song was like going to a restaurant or something like that and you have this fake relationship. But as I went to the studio a few more times and kind of changed a few things around, it became more of a song about like you might be in a relationship or you might be in yeah, like just you might be in a relationship and the other person doesn't feel the same way as you do about it. And that is like another definition of fake relationship. And that's kind of like been the full circle of the song. Um, I have a line in there that goes, I just can't be somebody's second, even if I'm last. And that's kind of like reflects on you can't be somebody's second in a relationship. You might as well just be last and like not associate with it anymore, you know? So I know that was like kind of a big rant, but I've said it a few times now, so I was just like, yeah, let's just go for it.
No, I liked it, man. I like the breakdown of the song. And you mentioned that you had this one a little while ago. How do you
Yeah.
decide kind of when to stagger them and when to put it out? Because it seems like it's conscious that like when you release singles, the next one that comes out has a completely different vibe than the one before it. At least the last few that you've put out have felt like that. Like when you listen to Ammo and you listen to Red Eye, and Clover, like none of them have the same, like they're all you, but none of them have the same vibe. So is that kind of how you
Right.
you decide to stagger the releases, or is it just kind of depend on where you're at with that particular song?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, like with the releases that I've dropped so far, I guess, I don't know. They're just my songs to me, but I guess I don't really realize that it is like kind of like a lot of genre crossing. And I think like what I'm gearing up to do and like with the new songs is kind of like the glue that ties the whole piece together. Because I've been wanting to put everything into like one piece of art and just call it an EP. And that's like kind of what we're gearing up for now. And that'll probably by the time like this podcast comes out, there already be talks about the EP. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm been gearing up to do. But I want to put different elements that like reflect how I write and make art, you know?
Yeah, for sure, man. Because even going all the way back to the first time we talked with Halo, like that one was like a for sure, like in that pop punk emo vein. Um, but even
Yeah,
when
and
I
the
listened to
music has
stuff,
changed even over the last couple of years too. Like you can kind of see the different changes in how people write their songs in the genre, you know?
yeah, yeah, and that's what I was getting at. Like, because when I got ready for that one, that was the first time we had talked,
Hmm.
and even like when I listened to the singles before that one, Cheesecake and Drip and Crazy, um, there was like rap elements. Those have more rap elements in some of those compared to Halo. So yeah, it's cool how you've I feel like if people go back and listen to, I mean, gosh, Crazy was all the way back in 2020 now. It's wild how time flies, but if people go all the way back to what you've put out and kind of get up to speed, you've really kind of covered, I feel like, your different interests in music. Like, what have you learned about yourself as a songwriter through this, Sean, in terms of like the experimentation and I think you even said the last time when you were on here with Ryan, like the amount of songs that you kind of have and like ideas that you have saved. It's a ton of them.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's like I have always, if there's like a certain song, and definitely the songs that I've released, if you look at the three first singles, um, completely different place in my life. I was living in the Midwest, and it was just kind of like the music that I was listening to and the environment that I was in, and I was writing the songs that reflected it. And then the second batch, like kind of when Halo was coming out, and like all these songs have more so been in the same time, especially even with Fake Relationships already being like a year old to me. But I don't know, it's just like my taste has changed, and like I want to incorporate more real instruments into my music and kind of give myself more vocal roles in it. And I guess that's part of it too. Is like when I started making those rap songs, like I wasn't really doing or producing my voice. And over the last couple of years, I've had a lot of practice and have written a lot of things that I probably wouldn't release, but it's like you get good. In there. It's like just the art of doing it and the act of doing it.
Is there anybody that you watch or anybody that you want to give a shout out to, or even people that you've worked with along the way that have helped you with, either like your abilities as a songwriter or even kind of finding your voice and like you were just talking about, even
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Like I think ever since my first band that I released the EP in 2016, I've always worked with Nick Nativo, and he's always been my like engineer, producer, and we've kind of grown together through the whole thing, and we definitely bounce a lot of ideas off of each other. Like shout out to Nick, like you're always fucking there for me, dog. And like, but there's been other people too, like that have helped with my songwriting, and like I mean, even working with Shane and Ryan on that one track, it's like I'm gonna be releasing an acoustic version of that song on the EP and of Ammo, and the song was written as an acoustic song, and I kind of wanted to go back and show people like the original idea. I was listening to old demos, and it's like played on an acoustic guitar. And like when I brought those guys into it, we kind of like produced it more, and we put like different elements, and we kind of made it its own vibe. But the original idea was still a different vibe, which I also thought was good. So I was like, we're gonna circle back on it. And I'm sorry, where was the first part of the question?
Yeah, just like, people.
Oh, people that, yeah. So yeah, so Ryan and Shane, like that was super sick. And then like I worked with Ricky a lot on getting good vocal takes and knowing what you need to make your voice sound good when you're recording, other than just like fucking using a bunch of processing. So I've just like practiced that, and these guys, like especially like working with Ryan and Adrian and otherwise, like these guys have worked with everybody in the game, and there's a lot of like wisdom in that, you know, and definitely listening and applying the wisdom that these people have given me has like grown my songwriting ability.
Yeah, and because the guitar playing part's always been there. Like you've been doing that for a long time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
even like the fun videos that you put out where you're just like jamming. I'm like, I wish I could noodle and just do like a cool riff like that. You
right.
know, but that's years and years of like skill and practice and yeah, it's cool to see you growing as like a songwriter, man. Are there anybody like in terms of vocal techniques,
Yeah.
is there anything different that you're doing now than maybe say like a few years ago when you were putting out
I
like
Well, putting out Halo and stuff is like kind of the start. Halo is the first song that I put out that I kind of showed that I could actually uh sing pretty good. And it wasn't like it took a lot for me to do Halo vocally. Like I could sing Halo now, but when I put it out, I couldn't go on stage and sing it in its key because I just wasn't like a practiced vocalist. I've done backing vocals and some backing screams and stuff in bands in the past, but um, not until recently have I like really sat down and like I can get through songs singing the whole song. And like I think that's been the biggest thing. Like I've played guitar for a long time and I could play like these instruments and work in Logic producing and but I never spent time practicing my vocals. And like I don't sit down every day and really run like chords and like there are videos and stuff to like get your pitch like locked in, like you can sing along to this and then your pitch is going to be more smooth because it's just like warming up your vocal cords. But I don't know. It's like with guitar, I don't sit down there and like run my scales all the time and stuff. I just kind of get on and start writing some shit and like sometimes I'm really feeling it and I'll like sing these crazy parts and I'm like, okay, we'll cook with that. And same thing with guitar too. It's like sometimes I write shit and I'm like, man, this idea is just so out there and I just have to like fucking reel it back in, make it something that's more like cohesive, you know?
So is the goal, Sean, eventually to do it like you said, like an EP, but do you want to do that live and have like a
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to get like a live band and like play all these songs live. Um, I think I think that we'll do that this year. Um, that was kind of the thing too, is like I had to release a lot of music before like I could even do a show, especially when I'm just doing like a single here, single there. Really like my first three singles that I released probably aren't going to get ever get played. It's just like so far in a different genre. But everything going forward from that, from Halo was kind of like the restart to everything. And you can really see, and you'll see with the EP that my voice develops a lot and like my songwriting develops a lot. And I just think it's like a good, let's just put that as a placeholder. And that was like a couple of years of my life. And then we're working on the new stuff, you know. But evolving with like me being the singer role, but playing out, I don't know, I play all the instruments too. Like I just take one out of Prince's book. Like I want to do stuff like that, you know. Prince is fucking amazing. I don't even want to say I just want to be like Prince, you know. I'm not Prince.
I don't think anybody I mean anybody who doesn't like Prince, I wouldn't trust them, dude. I freaking love Prince. Um
Good songwriter, awesome musician, true showman.
I was older too, and I'm a huge Batman fan, and it took
Mm.
me getting older before I realized he did all the music for that first
Yeah.
Tim Burton Batman in '89, which is the best Batman, by the way. No disrespect to any of the other Batmans. I love all of them. Even the ones that people crap on, like I'm here for all the Batman movies, but I feel like that first one, Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Prince, it doesn't get much better than that.
It's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, Prince is dope. But yeah, man, and yeah, if there's anybody to look up to, it'd be him. Because yeah, sick guitar player, could dance, can sing, could do it all. Was not afraid to experiment. Did whatever he wanted to do. Was a
Yeah.
guy that's
Mm.
very outspoken too. At a time when a lot of people weren't about the record industry and
Oh yeah, totally. Like
it could,
yeah, take he knew what he was doing and he held on to like what he had. But that's the thing too, and I think that's like why I admire somebody like Prince so much is like and that was kind of like his whole debate with like Michael Jackson was like Prince wrote all his shit and like owned all his shit. Not that Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson, but that's like why that was such like a like feud, you know?
there was always mystery with Prince too. I
Oh,
think
yeah, I like
I
that.
think I think the mystery and the mystique and like some of the stories that you hear, and even like that famous Chappelle show sketch, with Charlie Murphy telling that story about playing basketball and like Prince just like killing everybody. um,
Yeah.
and even like I'm a big Jimmy Fallon fan, and he talked about I think one time he like showed up and played ping pong, and then like Jimmy turned around after he beat him, and like Prince was gone. Like it was like some magic craziness. But yeah, Prince was one of a kind, man. But and that was the other thing I was going to ask you too, man, is like having a vision as a solo artist or as like a songwriter. Is there anybody currently like that you look at creatively as an inspiration, and go, man, like not that you're trying to bite off what they're doing, but you look at how they go about their business, like we were just talking about with Prince, like principles of how they carry themselves or how they write music or of how they release music. Is there anybody right now doing it where you're like, yeah, the way they're doing it, like I'm not gonna like bite their style or what they're doing, but if I could move, in a way like that, that's how I would want to continue to approach things, like, and is what I'm doing musically with my career.
Yeah, I don't think anybody specifically, but I think that there is a trend with more artists are self-producing and they're like record labels at this point, like used to be like your band's at this point and the record label is going to take you to this point, you know? But now the record label wants your band to be at like this point and they're going to bring you up there, you know? Like they want to just do that last little 20%. So you're seeing a lot of bands that really have to like get out there and fucking like bootstrap their way to that point, you know? And yeah, I just think that like that's kind of the climate of it all, you know. It's a lot more expensive to go tour and you got to kind of like be that type of way, you know.
Yeah, and the whole social media aspect of things too, which I know we've touched on that before, and we were even kind of talking before the jump with my with my background that I need to
Yeah.
but my game will. Well, the logo's sick. I mean, and I know it's a little bright. I probably shouldn't have worn a white t-shirt. I didn't really think about the aesthetics of this, which I need to be more conscious of if I ever go full video. But
Yeah.
but yeah, like I feel like with artists, man. I was just talking to a guy yesterday. Shout out Sergio. In a moment's notice, they're sick. Um, and they're going to blow up. Keep an eye on those guys. I digress. But we were talking about Deftones because that's one of my favorite bands,
Oh,
and
totally. One of mine
I
too.
I feel like TikTok and Instagram Reels have kind of put younger people onto, and when I say younger people, I mean like people who are in like high school now or junior high now.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
it's like put people onto bands like TikTok or like Deftones. TikTok has put people onto bands like them. Um, and even a band like Super Heaven, you know, youngest daughter had like this huge resurgence, and now they're like, Super Heaven's a band that's on a lot of people's radar. Like I think that's one of the cool things about social media. Like there's a lot of obviously awful things about it, but I think as it relates musically, like with the way these algorithms work, you can get put on to, artists that weren't on your radar or artists on the come up,
Well,
guy.
look and even like look at like what bands like Creed are able to do through social media, you know? I mean, already a massive band, but I mean, 50% of the people that go to their shows like weren't listening to them when they were at their height, you know? And debatably, they're at their height now, you know?
Yeah, I watched an interview with Mark Tremonti where he said, and he's like one of my guitar heroes. Alter Bridge is one of my favorite bands. And Creed was one of those gateway bands for me when I was younger that got me into more heavier music and more guitar driven music.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think he said, because now with all the ticket sales, there's demographics and stuff that you can get that you couldn't get back in the day before everything was like digital and all this data and stuff. And I think he said most of the ticket sales were like people 34 and under. So you
Yeah.
think about like Human Clay came out, I think in 99 or 2000. I was in like fifth, sixth grade. I think it was 99. So
Yeah.
somebody who's,
I was born in 98.
yeah. So, right. That's wild.
I was
So like,
listening.
somebody who's 34 now, if I'm doing my math, 25 years ago, yeah, I was 11 in 99. So somebody
Yeah.
who's 34, 34 now. What's that? Like nine, they were 9 years old, 8, 9 years old. Um, so and it kind of makes sense too, because their run was actually really, when you look at the amount of records that they sold, their run was pretty quick. Like
Yeah.
they blew up, and then it was like then it disbanded. So I mean, between like 97 and 2003, when it ended, it was basically like, I mean, they were, you know, on the grind in Florida as a bar band before they blew up. um but My Own Prison came out, I think, in 97. Human Clay was 99, and then I believe Weathered was 2001. So within those three albums, they sold all those millions of records, and by 2003, it had, kind of disbanded with stuff with Scott Stapp and what he was going through at that time. And so yeah, it's cool to see. I think that's part of the part of the draw too, is a lot of people my age, we were like, I was a little guy at the time. I was just entering high school, or freshman, sophomore year of high school, by the time their run had kind of they had kind of disbanded. So I think there's a lot of people on the second go around for them that were getting to see them for the first time, because
Right.
I remember they played with I know I'm kind of ranting here, but a trip down memory lane, Sean. I remember they played in my hometown in Toledo Sports Arena. There was a show, I believe, with Seven Dust and Kid Rock, and
Oh
I was in
man.
I was in seventh grade, and it was like Kid Rock, Seven Dust, and Creed. And I really wanted to go. And I remember my mom being like, "Oh, honey, there's going to be a lot of pot smoking at that show. I don't want you to, that's like my stock Midwest mom voice from like Bobby's World. Don't you know? Which, Chi-town guys, you know the Midwest, like
Oh
backhand.
yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, so that I remember that vividly, like wanting to go to that show in seventh grade, because Seven Dust still too one of my favorite
Awesome.
all-time favorite bands, man. And I feel like they're finally, these last few years, are starting to get their due. I feel like that's a lot of people's, like, that's like that saying, your favorite band's favorite band. And to this day, those dudes still rip live. I don't know how many people would want to follow Seven Dust, because those guys still kill live.
Yeah.
But yeah, social media is interesting with the music, or even the podcast stuff like this. Like I said, starting at the jump, trying to figure out, like, man, I need to have like a cooler background. I don't have the cool setup, so I got to
Just, just got my
figure it
living
out.
room, bro.
Yeah, but you got your guitars and stuff, man. And actually, I do have cool artwork. So maybe I'll have to like turn the computer. But the logo is sick. I gotta be honest. I think my podcast logo is cool. It's
Yeah.
a little bright, but it's cool. But anyway, getting back to you, man. I feel like I just went on like a friggin' 10-minute tangent.
On a
Um,
read. Gotta let them know.
but yeah, it's an interesting time for music, dude. I think it's cool, and what's cool about artists like yourself, as you're developing your sound and on the come up, and you're somebody that's savvy with social media, like, and what you're doing on TikTok and the videos that you post on Instagram. Like, I feel like you already have that piece of it figured out, whereas somebody like me, who's a little bit older, I'm kind of a caveman with that stuff. So if you just keep cranking out the music that you love to make, man, you're gonna hit in these algorithms, and people are gonna be like, people who listen to, like, pop punk stuff and emo stuff, especially with this new one coming out, Fake Relationships, man. Like, I feel like, just keep doing your thing, and you'll get plugged into that.
Yeah, it's like you gotta have a little bit of a balance, and that's why I do like to try like different genres and stuff. Is like you never know what's gonna click, and it's like if I already wrote the song, then it's not like I'm just writing what I'm gonna write. If it isn't gonna work for my music, then maybe it'll work for somebody else.
Well, and it was cool when you were, to bring it back to the new one, man, when you were talking about Fake Relationships. And I feel like, especially in the service industry, like, there's like, that world is so wild, because people in the service industry, like my sister worked in it
I mean,
for
I'm a bartender, so
you
like it's
you
like
see so many different people, man. Like,
I've been on both sides of that fake relationship.
Yeah, so what stories can you share like about being a bartender, man? Because I mean, the amount of different personalities that you see, like I got to imagine if you're ever at a point where creatively, like maybe you're like figuring things out or hitting a wall or just being like, man, I just have a little bit of a block, like I got to imagine just like a day and a night as a bartender, you could probably have like 20 new stories. And maybe even if it doesn't fuel you or fuel your music, it fuels you creatively.
Yeah, I don't know, like as far as specifics, what I should really talk about the bartending. Those are like stories that need to like marinate for sure. But I will say this, bartending and serving is like it can be like next level of just like the most random human interactions, you know? It's like you have like people are just all over the place when they come to restaurants. It's great. I kind of like I live for shit like that, and that's why I like traveling around and doing the shows and stuff. And I do get a similar, it is a similar thing to be working in the service industry and like playing in bands and doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I gotta imagine between that and touring with Otherwise too, man, and seeing those crowds, like those are cool life experiences that a lot of people don't have. I feel like the service industry builds character for sure. It teaches you patience, it teaches you how to be
For sure.
productive and like on your feet. Um, like
It's pretty
bartenders, man,
fast.
yeah, y'all are burning calories, dude. Like, I mean, I live in the Nashville area and I don't know how like the people down on Broadway, like in the heart of Nash Vegas, like those bartenders, how they do it because they're dealing with like the drunkest of the drunk people.
Oh yeah, that is next level from what I do. Absolutely. Like I don't I work at a bar that's definitely more like a restaurant, so it's not like the crazy like I'm not making like AMFs and like fucking vodka rebels and shit like that. That's some next level shit. Like I like to be on that from the customer side for sure. But
It's
I
good
tip
in
my hat
doses.
to people.
Yeah, living here, I don't know too many locals who frequent it. Now, granted, I'm a bit more of a hermit. I've never been a hard partier, Sean, but I've had my day, you know what I mean? So every now and again I venture out of the bat cave and I'll go down there. And it's in the near decade that I've lived here now, dude, it blows my mind how wild it gets down there. But Nashville's got a lot of cool like neighborhood bars and restaurants and spots. It's a really good food city. So
Oh,
yeah,
totally.
there's stuff that would probably be more your speed. Broadway's good for like it's good for like a night. And then you're like, okay, I kind of, you know what I mean? Anybody who's been to Vegas, like if you went to Nashville, you'd be like, oh, I get it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. Nashville's totally like Vegas for sure.
yeah, the music scene here is awesome too. Whatever you like, it's here. But yeah, being a bartender, I would think yeah, you'd have a lot of interesting characters coming in and out of there. Um Well, dude, before we officially wrap it up, and thanks again for coming back on, man. I was glad that you hit me up. I was excited to hear the new single, and like I said, it's definitely truly one of my favorites. And I'm not just saying that, man. And that's not to be dismissive of the other ones that you've put out so far, but I really do enjoy the tempo of this one. Um, I feel like it's something that could play like during a movie, of in a montage during a movie. It's a song that I think is going to translate really well for people who are fans of pop punk and emo. And like you said, I think the duality, like the place you were coming from when you wrote it, um, and then also on the flip side of that coin, people who feel like they're in a relationship where it's not being reciprocated or they feel like, they're not a priority, they're going to relate to it as well. And I think that's what's really going to help it. Is there plans to do more like video content like because when you first came out the gate with me anyway, when you first came on my radar, I should say, I really felt like what you did for Halo was really awesome.
Yeah, I want to do more like long videos and kind of really dial in concepts for video. Um it's so fucking expensive, you know? It's like I really want to be able to with this EP like release it and kind of regroup a little bit. And but that's the thing is like I want to be able to do more videos and make some of these bigger ideas come true. I can do a little bit with like images and like it's a little bit easier to produce. But when you're producing the music, you're paying for the artwork, and you're doing all these little things. Like, yeah, I do a lot of producing and stuff, and it saves me a lot of studio time. But at the end of the day, this is a pricey game to be in, you know? I love doing those videos though. Like Halo was super sick to film, and luckily I'm around a lot of other creators and like my buddy Cody Hoffman, especially like a guy that's helped me out over the years, especially with the technical stuff. And he's written and done co-writes for me. Uh, and he plays bass on Fake Relationships. So yeah, like we can produce like these videos and do it relatively cheap, but yeah, we just got to have the right idea. And I think like for the next music after this batch of releases is done, we'll get some more visual content. And there's going to be some visuals for this song that'll probably be circulating around once this podcast comes out. But um, definitely no full length music videos for the short term, anyway.
Yeah, I feel you, man, because especially like you said, if you really put together um and I feel like because there was a time I feel like maybe 10 years ago where the big thing was like the lyric videos, like when a single would come out, I feel like that was the move for a while.
Well, and I
Was
think attention span is low too. Like people just are watching little reels here and there. So I like to be like a little creative with the reels. I have a lot of fun filming some of these ones, like especially the ones that are going to be coming out. Like I was filming a reel for Fake Relationships, and it was in like this part of downtown that was all like the police had it like all signs up that you can't park here and stuff like that. And I had maybe got like two takes on this reel because like the cops pulled up. I just finished the one take and I was like, all right, let's go. I don't even want to like get a ticket for this.
you're like Popo, I'm just trying to create here, man. We're
Hey,
just trying to
they didn't say anything to me, but they were sitting there and I was like, they're gonna probably have to say something at some point. So I'll bow out.
Yo, dude, you want to be in this reel real quick?
Just can you guys arrest me for the content?
Do some like Mick Lovin thing with like Bill Hader and Seth Rogen, where he's like, "Hey, can you guys do me a favor?" And they're just like calling him out of that party, and he's freaking out.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out Super Bad. God, that's 18 years old now. Is it 2007? Oh my God, dude, I'm getting old. Holy crap.
So,
Shout out to Super Bad. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I feel like the short form content, there's a lot of people really nailing that, man. And I feel like if you can kind of get into a rhythm with that and put out those cool clips from songs, that's really where it's all about. Because yeah, if like even doing this like as a podcast, like I was telling you before this started, like I do feel like, and I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but I was kind of looking at what I was doing, and I've always had kind of, and I don't know if it's like the Midwest in me or just my personality where I'm like, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to like be too pushy with my stuff, blah, blah, blah. But then I was looking around and I was like, dude, like all the podcasts that I listen to, they're all doing video content. They're putting out these short clips. If it's a comedy podcast, it's like a really funny moment from the show. And then they kind of like blast the logo at the end. And for a while, I was just kind of doing like little audio graphics, and those were doing okay. But then I was like, yeah, I need to start trying to mess with some reels. So I really made that like a point of focus last year to do like video reels,
yeah.
and it took me a minute, and I'm still figuring it out. And like I said, I'm still trying to step up the visual game of my show. Um, but yeah, I feel like people, like you said, their attention spans, if you can hit them with like a minute, like a cool clip from a conversation or a song, if you can give them like 20 seconds and do like a cool visual, people will be like, oh, cool. I like that chorus. Let me listen to the whole thing.
Yeah. And I want to do more visuals. Um, just about getting it planned out, you know? It's like it's logistically a fucking gymnastics, you know? But
Well, and
it
like you said, to do stuff like to do stuff the way you want to do it, and to, you know, whether it's making a song, like I think people don't realize that either. You know, when you're making music, by the time the song comes out, the artist, like by the time you release Fake Relationships, how many times had you heard it or worked through it? Like hundreds. You know what I mean? Like by the time the song actually comes out, you know what I mean?
if you are listening to a song that you're going to release, you listen to it so many more. You're just so sick of that song. I don't care who you are as an artist. Like, you're sick of that song by the time it comes out. But I don't know. I still jam my music. I like it. Stuff I like to make.
So the forthcoming EP, you mentioned that there's going to be an acoustic version of Ammo. So we talking like 5 to 7 songs, including the ones that you've released post Ammo.
Yeah, there's a couple other songs that haven't been released too. Fake Relationships is just that the one that get it all rolling again. But yeah, I got a couple more features and some cool songs in the mix. So I think it'll be a good way to tie in all these tracks because we had a quite a bit of variety. I mean, just listening to like a Red Eye versus like Fake Relationships is quite a bit different song, and Clover is like quite a bit different, but it's how I was feeling at the time, so I thought it was like appropriate to put them all into one thing.
Yeah, man. And at the end of the day, like, I think it's cool. I think it's cool to experiment, and it's cool. That's how you find your voice as an artist. And if you're not feeling something, then the people aren't going to feel it. So I think it's making the music. I mean, and shoot, like, what do I know? I'm not a musician, and here I am like waxing poetic, but it's true though. Like as a fan of music and as somebody who used to like, you know, write about it back in the day, like, and I look at the bands that I love, and I've seen like the albums that they've put out or the singles that they put out. If you make something that you love, even if it's divergent from something that you did before that people loved, um, if you're feeling it, they're gonna feel it. Somebody's gonna feel it. You know what I mean? So I think for somebody like yourself, and again, take this with a grain of salt because I'm not an artist. I haven't gone on tour like you. I'm I can barely play 4 chords, dude. But just I love music and I've been doing this long enough that it's like people will feel authenticity. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you look at artists that experiment, even if at the time people like didn't get it or it was like, oh well, you know, 5, 10 years down the road, they'll listen to it again and be like, I get it now. Like I dig this. You know what I'm saying? So I think as long as you keep making the music that you love to make, dude, like you're gonna be fine. Like you have the experience of being in a band, you have an experience of being, you know, part with otherwise and touring with them. You having these experience working with these awesome friends of yours that are also doing their thing and know how to roll in terms of video content and music. So I'm excited for you, man. I'm excited to hear to hear the new stuff that's coming out. Even after Fake Relationships, man, and I think people are gonna dig this one. So I'm just gonna manifest that the numbers are gonna be good, brother.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it, man, and I appreciate you always having me on when I'm gonna do something.
Alrighty, dighty, there you have it. That was my conversation with Sean Fitz. Make sure you go follow him on Instagram at Fake Fitz. You can check out his music wherever you get your music at Sean Fitz. The links to all of his stuff will be in the podcast description for this episode. So y'all know what to do. Just scroll down to the bottom of that podcast description, hit those links, and go follow and support Sean Fitz. You will not be disappointed. If you love emo, if you love pop punk, if you love alternative, you love some hip hop and some R&B elements sprinkled in there. His singles cover the whole gamut with what he's released over the last several years. The latest single, it's Fake Relationships. It is out now, again, available wherever you get your music. I really love it. One of my favorites from Sean. So go run up the numbers, go support him. And once again, like I said at the jump, he's got some touring coming up with Otherwise. He plays bass for them live on stage, and they have got some shows coming up in June. And then I believe there's also another run that's going down in August, and I believe a couple of shows even in September. So once again, go check out all those links at Fake Fits on Instagram to get all the deets. Listen to Fake Relationships, and go check out Sean's music, man. It's always great to connect with good people out here. And he's been on the show multiple times over the years because I love having him on. It's always a great conversation. We both have Midwest roots, and it's cool to see a guy out here chasing his dreams and making stuff happen. So I just want to say directly to Sean, thank you so much for coming back on the pod, my guy. You are welcome anytime. And genuinely, man, I'm a big fan of what you're doing, and I love Fake Relationships. Like I said, I repeat myself a lot, but I really do love a good sad song. I love a good emo anthem, and you really hit the nail on the head with that one, man. So everybody go check him out at Fake Fits on Instagram. Sean Fitz, Fitzsean, Sean Fitz, wherever you get your music. And if you did enjoy that conversation and Sean brought you here, if this is your first time hopping aboard that pirate ship with this podcast, thank you again so much. I truly mean it from the bottom of my heart. I love doing this show. I love connecting with great people like Sean, and it's awesome whenever I get new listeners to the show. And one thing that you can do to help the show grow is if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to the podcast on whatever streaming service that you use. That goes a long way in helping it in the algorithm. So does liking and commenting on the episodes, leaving a rating and a review on the show on whatever streaming service that you use. That helps it rank higher in those crazy algorithms that I don't understand at all. But I just know the more you engage with it, the more you enjoy it, it helps a lot with the show, dude. So really appreciate everybody listening to the podcast, and I hope it inspires you to chase y'all's dreams, man. That's what I'm trying to do out here with my show, and all the wonderful guests that I get to connect with. I mean, this show really has been it's been a great source of joy and positivity for me, and I don't even like to call it a labor of love because I truly enjoy doing it, even though I'm really hard on myself. And you guys don't see all the behind the scenes stuff where I record and re-record these intros and closes like 18 times because I'm like, nope, didn't sound good. Nope, didn't like the way I sounded on that one. Nope, didn't like that one. But I digress. I genuinely appreciate everybody listening. And again, I hope that wherever life finds you as you're listening to this, however, you're listening to this, whether you're in the car, whether you're cranking out some spreadsheets at work, whether you're exercising or you're just at home chilling, keep your head up, hang in there, persevere, move forward. That's what this show is all about, man. Sometimes the darkest days happen right before there's a breakthrough and right before, you get to that light at the end of the tunnel. So don't quit. Don't quit on your dreams. Don't quit on yourself. Don't give up. The only way to not get where you want to go is if you throw in the towel, man. So don't let the doubters bring you down. Don't let the haters bring you down. Don't let people who quit on you bring you down. Just dig deep and do it for that inner child in you. If you go back and I don't know if you've got a photo album handy or old photos in your phone. Most of our memories are digital now, which is kind of wild, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But the point I'm making is, sometimes people are like, yeah, do it for your haters or do it for the people who hurt you or do it for yourself, man. At the end of the day, if you enjoy it, and there are things that you're drawn to, whether it is music, whether it is painting, whether it is poetry, whether it's fitness, whether it's baking, whatever that hobby that you have is reading. Those are things that you didn't ask for, that you were just naturally drawn to. And in my opinion, in the 37 years I've been on this planet, man, the things that you are naturally drawn to, sports, shoes, music, whatever it is, that you just gravitate towards. Nobody guided you towards it. You're just like, I like that. Those are the things that you should go after. I think that those are gifts from God, the universe, the cosmos, whatever you want to say it. That's part of the stardust of who we are, man. That's part of your cosmic makeup, and you should go after it. So I know life gets hard. Like told you guys at the jump, I just lost, two good friends and mentors in broadcasting. And I'm not saying that because I want anybody to feel sorry for me. It's just a reminder that, tomorrow isn't promised to any of us, man. So make the most of today. Be forgiving of yourself and others, and just keep moving forward. Don't hold grudges. Try to squash any beef, try to be the first person to extend your hand for a handshake, and if you don't get dapped up, at least you tried. You know what I mean? That's how I live my life, man. Hold doors for people, be kind to people, try to leave them smiling or laughing, because leaving a legacy of love behind is a great thing. And if you can pursue what you love while you're doing that, it's a beautiful way to live life. So hang in there, hang tough, don't quit on yourself, don't quit on your dreams. Keep the faith and be kind to one another and be kind to yourselves. I love you all. Courtesy of Sean Fitz, here is his latest single, Fake Relationships. Peace.
Thought he could come in here and wipe that tattoo off your neck. I'm keeping it close by me till the end. The scars you left on me for everyone to see. The pain will come to a pause, to a